want to do is take care of your business. You want to win football games when you have a chance to, and when they're important, and we didn't do that.
The Commanders came up short against the Browns, and with the loss, they see their playoff chances slip away as well. We break down all the action from Week 17. Plus, defensive tackle Daron Payne put himself in rare company following his 2-sack performance against the Browns. We take a look back at his impressive season leading the Commanders' defense. And as we ring in the new year, there is a lot to look forward to in 2023 in the nation's capital. We share our resolutions for the Commanders' new year. Welcome into Command Center. Julie Donaldson, Logan Paulsen, and Fred Smoot here. So Washington getting the loss to the Cleveland Browns, and, well, with a few other teams going not in Washington's favor, officially eliminated from the postseason. And it hurts. It hurts, Logan.
Yeah, obviously very, very disappointing, especially kind of a game that you thought this team could win and thought they should win, and it was multiple weeks in a row where they could have clinched their opportunity to go to the playoffs. And I think that was very, very disappointing, and I understand everyone being kind of down today.
Well, beyond down, because it was about controlling your own destiny. Yep. We did not want to put this in the Minnesota Vikings' hands, and yet again, Kirk Cousins let us down. But that's what happens when you have to depend on somebody else in another team for your destiny to be controlled. So I truly understand how the DMV feels right now.
Yeah, they've been winless in the month of December and January, not getting better late in the season, and unfortunately, it does result in, again, after the Cowboys next week, that will be it. So let's see what went wrong in this one. Here we go. Well, it started with Carson Wentz getting back under center for Washington after replacing Taylor Heineke during last Saturday's loss to the 49ers. It was his first start since Week 6, but he said he felt comfortable. He did struggle early on, though. Second throw of the game intended for Terry McLaurin. That is picked off by Denzel Ward.
Ex-college teammate, he knows him. You go to the bathroom, I am going with you.
Yeah. 3-0 after Browns field goal. Nick Chubb knew he was going to be tough. Carves up the defense, gets inside the 10, 14 carries, 104 yards.
And the Commanders weren't expecting that kind of run style, and it showed on that kind of play right there.
It's like averaging 10 yards a carry or more.
Yeah.
4th and goal, same drive. Deshaun Watson on a designed keeper, but the Commanders not fooled. Derek Forrest, Chase Young on the stop. Washington takes over on downs.
Hey, when you throw a party and everybody invited, everybody meets there. That's a good play by the defensive backs, good play by Chase Young. Good to see the team stop.
Second quarter, same score. Wentz going up top for Curtis Samuel, but picked off again, this time by Grant Delpit.
Yeah, I think he finds the right matchup there, but again, that ball is a little off, and Delpit makes an excellent play on that football, and can't do that. Got to be more careful with the football.
Well, this is what we were expecting more of. These are the throws he does make on 3rd and 17 to Jahan Dotson for the first down.
This shows his arm. Every quarterback in the league cannot make this throw from the opposite hash, and him and Dotson, they had this rapport. I like it.
4th and goal, Wentz caps a 21-play, 96-yard drive with the stretch over the goal line for 6. Washington up 7-3 after the first half.
Fred, every time I see that ball stuck out there like that, it makes my heart beat. But look at that sucker getting in the end zone, doing what it takes to get it done.
But 21 plays is what it took, and in the second half, it was Cleveland that took over. Watson to Amari Cooper, gets past Kendall Fuller. He's off 46 yards to the house, 10-7 Browns.
Fuller has to make this tackle right here. Not mad at the catch, but you have to complete this play, get him out of bounds, and get him to the ground.
Later in the third, Watson on 2nd and 18 connects with David Njoku for the first down.
Yeah, probably his best throw of the day right there. Beats the cover 2 corner and the safety. Excellent ball.
Same drive, again, 3rd down. Watson to Donovan Peoples-Jones, gets in from 13 yards out. The Browns, they have a 10-point lead.
We seen this a lot yesterday. A lot of people running wide open in zones and men. Can't have that.
Washington trying to fight back. Wentz, McLaurin, 23 yards on the hookup, and the drive would end, though, with a Joey Sly field goal.
Yeah, nice ball here by Carson. Great route by Terry, and good to see him get involved, even though it was really late in the game.
So the defense desperate for a stop in a 17-10 game, but Watson gets loose for 21 yards here as he gets towards midfield.
He's the man we cannot account for on defense, and yeah, he breaks tackle. Great call.
He was getting his confidence back. Watson to a wide open Cooper, sneaks inside the pylon, his second score of the game. He had not scored in the last 4 games, mind you.
Fred, you mentioned it, man. The guys running right open, not quite communicating those coverage matches, really tough.
And desperation time. Wentz taking a shot for Dotson, but he is picked off for the 3rd time in the game, second by Delpit.
Yeah, when you throw that YOLO ball up there, hey, sometimes life goes good, sometimes life goes bad, and that one right there ended the game.
Yep, the Commanders, they lose 24-10, and after the Lions and Packers wins, they are eliminated from playoff contention this season. They're now winless in their last 4 games overall. Sunday was the 5th straight game the Commanders were held to 20 points or fewer points, their longest such streak of the season. Washington was able to win the time of possession battle for the 9th time in the last 10 games, but it was far from enough to overcome the mistakes.
We missed a couple of tackles. You can't miss tackles, not against big runners, good runners. You got to make sure if you do anything, you at least slow them down so everybody else can come in and tackle them. And we missed a couple of them completely. And again, you can't miss tackles on good players. And then a couple times we had guys on, downfield, we should have made tackles and we missed those tackles.
That's tough. It's tough, but again, for me, seeing a lot in this league, being around for a long time, it's part of the deal. You got to turn the page quickly, and you can't dwell on it. And I understand kind of where we're at. I understand a lot of outside things that are outside of our control and my control as well. So yeah, it's disappointing. It's frustrating. It's a lot of things, and you can beat yourself over it, or you can just kind of learn from it and move on. And again, control what you can control and move on.
Time for our mission debrief, brought to you by the Washington Times. Okay, so a lot of disappointment after this one, but the decision was made to go back to Carson Wentz to provide a spark, and it didn't happen. He told me afterwards that he felt very comfortable, but he did not look it out there to start this game.
Yeah, it didn't look very comfortable, and I think everyone in the DMV said, we want Carson. I don't think there's any kind of issue with that, but I think he went out and didn't do what needed to be done in terms of to win the football game. And I think that has to be a really big point of frustration for the staff and fans as well.
And not only for the stand, but I think for the players. I think it just sent mixed reviews with the player in the locker room. This guy Heineke got us here. Now we throwing him in, and I think it just threw off the chi of the team and the energy of the team. Nothing against Carson. I just think let the guy who got us here finish it, and I really felt like that.
And you saw the guys would rally around Taylor Heineke, of course. He seemed to have some kind of mojo magic with that locker room. But no, I think going into this, most thought then agreed with the decision to go with Carson. They just weren't expecting that kind of performance from him. They thought this was a chance for him to kind of like rewrite the script of what eventually got him here and out of Indianapolis. Did not go down that way. They did lose John Allen in this game, and that was absolutely a huge loss, especially when you do have Nick Chubb out there doing exactly what Chubb was doing. But beyond that, they didn't have Cam Curl going to the game. They haven't had Benjamin St. Juste, and those are big pieces, Fred, on defense to not have out there.
Of course, everybody see the St. Juste and say, he been making all these plays. Let me tell you the glue to this defensive backfield. It's Mr. Cameron Curl. We can look at the game that he's missed this year, and that's where all the big 30-plus plays come from in the passing game, because he's the guy that checks the ball when they check plays. He's the guy that lines everybody up. He's the chief. He's the guy that starts everything back there. And when you don't have guys comfortable knowing where they should be at, bad things happen.
Fred, I totally agree with you. You just see kind of his presence. It's not only that, not only what he's doing from a call stand, from a check standpoint, he also plays probably 4 or 5 positions within the defense. He plays the nickel, he plays linebacker, he plays post, he plays plays all those different spots. And so when he's absent, you got to get a whole bunch of guys in there who haven't had the same kind of reps he has. So his loss is very, very acutely felt on that defense, and they need to get back soon, and hopefully he'll be healthy next year.
And you do know coming in that you have to have depth at almost every position, which is why this coaching staff has always preached position flex.
Yes.
You have to play multiple, because injuries will happen and your play can't, if you want to continue on, fall apart from that. Okay, so look, there's not many bright spots we can take from this because fans are feeling the hurt of knowing the season is over. But there are plays and players that have done really well in this as well, and really look no further than Deron Payne.
I mean, holy cow. Like that guy, even yesterday, 2 sacks yesterday, a bunch of tackles for loss. And when that running game started going for Cleveland, he's the guy getting penetration in the backfield. He's the guy being disruptive. And he's the guy that really, if you look at the second half, kind of derails that whole rushing attack for them. He did an outstanding job, deserves a ton of credit.
He's been dominating all year from the start to the end.
Paid, though,
I'm going to say, he's going to walk into the bank and say politely, put the money in the bag. Put the money in the bag, because that's what his plays felt. He broke the record for the most sacks by a D tackle for a franchise that's been around 1,000 years. That tells you everything you need to know about his performance this year.
And it was great to get Chase Young back as well. I think we saw that he has an impact on the game. We just had to wait a long time to get him back. So there are things and pieces to definitely build around. But by all accounts, next week will be the final week of this season. Now, on Sunday's game, there was something good to celebrate as Washington honored the legendary Hogs, the former offensive lineman responsible for leading the franchise to 3 Super Bowl titles with 3 different quarterbacks. Hall of Fame head coach Joe Gibbs was the game's honorary captain, and the team also unveiled Major Tutty, the hog-themed mascot, to help honor their legacy. Tutty, meaning a touchdown, needed more of those.
As you can tell, the camaraderie. I mean, we had a bunch of guys didn't really care about personal accolades. It was more about the team and not letting the guy beside you down. It's thanks to the organization for keeping it going, because, I mean, kids nowadays, you know, if you're not on social media, they don't notice you. So.
And if you're not 60, they don't know who you are.
But they don't forget you if you got these.
Oh yeah, we're not forgetting about the rings. We just wish Washington was closer to getting one again. Now when we come back, Deron Payne. He's been making a living in the opponent's backfield all season long, and this weekend was no different. We take a look back at his big day next. And Carson Wentz and the offense had their struggles against Cleveland. We've seen Fred and Logan inside the film room to break down their performance on Sunday.
The Joker just standing up on the edge of the line. Pressure right up the middle, and they got him! Right up the middle! Good pressure there by Deron Payne! That is sack number 10.5.
Deron Payne, he says, look, it's all about finishing. He has been finishing this season, London.
Well, it seems like the message was sent to these guys on the defensive line. You're going to have to set the tone in this ball game. And so far, the defensive front is setting the tone.
Defensive tackle Deron Payne continued his impressive season with a pair of sacks against the Browns. It was the second multi-sack game of the season for Payne. His 11.5 sacks are now tied with David Butts for the most in franchise history by an interior lineman, and becomes the first Washington player with double-digit sacks since Ryan Kerrigan recorded 13 in 2018. Now, against the Browns, Washington finished with a -3 in the turnover margin. It was their worst turnover margin this season, and, well, it was their highest since week 3 of last year. Now, during their 3-game losing streak, they have fallen to -5 in the turnover margin. On Sunday, quarterback Carson Wentz threw 3 interceptions. So where did the play go wrong, though? Well, Logan and Fred are standing by to help us. So time to go inside the film room, presented by Amino. It pays to be healthy.
Thanks, Julie. Fred, coming in today, a little sick to my stomach,
Yeah,
not
hurts.
feeling really good, and I'm hoping today we can provide some insight on some of the mistakes that happened in the game. Just kind of educate, make people feel a little bit better today. So let's take a look at this first interception, the second interception to Curtis Samuel. And what they're doing here is they're running vertical into the defense, all goes. I think Curtis here has a kind of a read route.
Yep.
He's got an option to either run a dig or a go. He chooses a go, which is the right call here. And then they're going to chip here and then get into their routes. Chip, routes.
Yep.
So what I want to point out here is that the defense for the Cleveland Browns is in what coverage are they in, Fred?
Cover 2 shell.
Cover 2 shell, right?
Yep.
Because you got this guy over here. He's pushing for width.
Yep.
He's pushing for width, and then we call it Tampa 2, Fred, because the middle
Linebacker's gonna run.
He's running right up the middle of the
speed.
field.
Yep.
And that's him right there. So on the surface, what do you think about this concept, Fred?
Great play call on the surface.
Great play call.
When you see cover 2, the one thing you want to do is get 3-4 vertical on as fast as possible.
Right.
And here go the key right here.
Yep.
Because you got Curtis Samuel meshed up with a linebacker, there's speed on body.
On body.
And let's try to put this ball there. And he did a good job of trying to look these guys off and maneuver these guys, but they had a different plan for them right here. And everybody say, why won't we chip and help the tackles?
Yeah.
Chip and help the tackles. Well, this is what happened when you chip and help the tackles.
Right.
It stopped them from getting into the pass routes and allows us to clamp on the guys that are. So now we got what, 6 against 3?
Yeah, 6
We're going to
against
win
3.
that battle every time.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Fred. And I think the thing about this is, like, even with this, like you say, this is the matchup we want.
Yeah.
And even if it's not there, though, and you mentioned the chips, which I think is a great point, there are places to go with the football in this offense, right? You got to check the ball down, and it is 3rd and 8. So I think Williams could maybe get this and go for it, but you get Carson trying to make a play.
Yeah.
And what I want to point out is I don't hate him trying to make this play.
No,
right?
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't either. But guess what? You put a Carson Wentz in because of what? He has a cannon.
Yep.
Like, we're talking about 3rd and long. Well, guess what? Cleveland understands it's 3rd and long.
Yep.
So they're going to play everything from the top down. That's what we see.
Absolutely. So he puts the ball out there, and again, this is tough throw. You know, with the way we ran it in other offices I've been in, you say cross the linebacker's face to give the quarterback a better throw, allow him to find these windows here, like a little bit easier. But again, they made this decision. That's how they ran it. Don't hate it. Ball's a little off. interception, right? But
Yeah.
on the principle, I don't hate the decision, and I don't hate the play design, right?
Yep.
And even you mentioned his head movement, Fred, and I think that's a really good point because you see that Carson understands where the ball needs to go, right?
Yeah, and how can I manipulate
Yes.
that? Yeah.
He looks right down the middle, then he looks to the left. You see his vision going this way.
Yep.
He's trying to hold the safety.
He's trying to push him.
Right.
Yeah.
He's trying to ensure his matchup. So again, it feels bad, it feels gross, but there is an opportunity here for a good matchup. It just doesn't fall your way,
Yep.
and that's really tough. I think this last one, they're trying to come back. Again, this is the interception to Jahan in the post. They're going to run a drive concept across the field. This guy's got a post.
Yep.
And when I look at this, Fred, I say Cleveland's a cover 3 team.
They are.
And they're going to roll the cover 3, but they're not really going to roll the cover 3. What's going on here, Fred?
Because we got a cover 3 match.
Yeah.
And here go the point right here
Yeah.
that changes everything.
Yes.
When we turn back to the sideline, they say backside corner.
Yeah.
Lock.
Lock.
You gonna go man to man. That's your man, and we finna push. And when we say push, we're pushing to the rest of the wide receivers in the plays.
Yep. And then what does that do for this guy here, Craig? Because this is really the post field safety.
Yeah.
And if it's locked, what can he do?
He can just hover.
Yeah.
He can find work. I have no reason to run back to the middle of the field
Right.
because I'm not threatened in the middle of the field.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that, again, if this is cover 3, this is the right decision. You get Carson looking over here
Yep.
to move the safety in this direction. That's right. To ensure a one-on-one with your receiver here onto the post with the guy with outside leverage, that's the right process.
Yep.
But again, misidentifying the coverage, not understanding this lock principle means that this guy doesn't need to go anywhere.
He don't need to go in there.
Right.
He sits, he waits, and guess who else feels safe?
Yes.
This cornerback
Right.
feels safe. And now look at what we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6.
Against 4.
Right.
You
And-
cannot win that matchup.
And so people say, well, where should he go with the ball? This guy's covered, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
the match, this guy's covered, this guy's covered.
Yeah.
I just want to point out the back here. When in this situation, you can get the ball to your back. It's okay to check
Be
the ball
patient,
down
yeah.
because there is a lot of space here,
Yeah.
and there's an opportunity to do that. But again, I think when you look at this, again, is the play bad?
Yeah, no, not a bad play. No.
Is it the bad decision? It's a bad decision because he misidentified the coverage. But if it's cover 3, that's the right decision.
That's what
And I
you
think
have to
That's what's
attack.
kind of frustrating about, right? Is that there were opportunities there, they just didn't quite click on them. And I know that's really frustrating for fans, and hopefully we're able to kind of ease that burning soul today.
Still to come as the season approaches its end and the calendar flips to 2023. We share our New Year's resolutions for the team when Command Center returns. Welcome back to Command Center. Another look at Washington's loss to the Browns on Sunday. And Carson Wentz back under center, and he leads a 21-play, 96-yard drive and scores on a sneak 7-3 Commanders at the half.
Getting that ball out there, reaching for the end zone. Love to see that competitiveness. Too bad it was the only one of the day.
Yeah, third quarter, Deshaun Watson, he finds Amari Cooper. That is for the first of his 2 scores on the day. Browns take a lead and they would not relinquish.
This is a corner's worst nightmare. As you sit on the ground and you watch your guy run to the touchdown. You got to make that tackle right there. Give your team a chance.
And in desperation mode late in the fourth, Wentz picked off for the 3rd time on the afternoon.
Yeah, again, kind of going that YOLO ball like you said, Fred. Anytime you do that, you're putting the ball up for grabs.
Well, the Commanders lose 24-10, eliminated from playoff contention this season. So Washington did not start off the new year the way that everybody had hoped, anticipated, and or wanted. Head coach Ron Rivera said they went into this game fully expecting that they were going to win. It didn't even cross their minds that they would drop this game. So he was not anticipating being eliminated, but that's exactly what happened. So let's get some New Year's resolutions because all is not lost if we're to build into the new year, right? A new season will be coming eventually enough. Let's start on offense, Fred.
Yep. First of all, we're going to leave all the negativity in 2022.
Oh, there we go.
In 2023, I feel so good about this wide receiving core. It's the best wide receiving core we done had since the posse. I talked to Ricky Sanders. I talked to Gary Clark. I talked to Art Montt. They signed off on this group of guys. Terry McLaurin is a true number 1, the top 10 receiver in this league. Curtis Samuels, Mr. Do-It-All. I can run out the backfield. I can run the slot. And I love our first-round draft pick, the first of the Commanders in history, Mr. Donaldson. I call him Han Solo. And the thing about it is, he make play, and they take the stress off of each other. And I think that group is something to look forward to in the future, period.
I mean, we love the playmakers. We've never questioned their ability to be able to do that. It's just they didn't do it enough together.
Yeah, absolutely. And part of that's building a new offensive identity and philosophy. But Fred, I feel like you took the easy one. I'm going to take Brian Robinson. I think he did an outstanding job this year, just being physical. You got to see his vision, you got to see that tremendous talent, just down in and down out. And it was cool to see him grow, especially after the season started for him. And in conjunction with him, I'm going to say Sam Cosmi. He played excellent yesterday at tackle and at guard. Two young pieces that I think get you fired up about that run game moving forward.
Yeah, B-Rob showed you how tough of a runner he is. We
yeah.
knew he was not fully healthy, but man, he went, didn't complain, and he gained extra yards where there were none. How about defensively, Logan?
Yeah, for me, I think there's a lot of young pieces. I think you look at Jamin David's development. I think you look at Forrest. I think you look at Cam. I think you look at Benjamin St. Juice, and you say, wow, those are some very, very talented young pieces that are only getting better. And it's kudos to Ron and his staff for betting on them, betting on that development and seeing their maturation. And you get a shutdown corner in Cam. You get kind of a special linebacker in Jamin. It's just nice to see those pieces come together, and they're all supported kind of behind that defensive line, right?
Yeah. And I'm going to take the easy route. That's what I like to do, Logan. At the end of the day, we remember the Beatles. We remember New Edition. We remember all the great groups that we ever have. And the one thing about great groups, they usually break up. The question is, can we keep the band together? Montez Sweat coming up. Deron Payne is up for a payday. Can we keep? Chase Young is back from injury. I think these guys can change games. I think these guys can change seasons. I think these guys can change careers. But the hardest thing about having good talent, and Lord, thank you, we finally blessed well, is now you have to keep them grouped together.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. Some big decisions for the front office coming on that one, because that unit certainly has plenty of talent. What about, real quickly, special teams?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you've got your guy, Tress Way. I mean, he'll be here. I mean, he's been here since the dawn of time, I feel like. He is a commander. He's been a Washington football player. He's been a Redskin. He's the guy you can build around. And then they have those excellent young gunners, the Percy Butlers, the Christian Holmes, Reeves, the Pro Bowl player. I mean, there's a lot of excellent young pieces there to build around. What do you think, Fred?
Why would you leave Joey Slide?
I forgot Joey. I'm sorry.
Kick him in the eye, Joey Slide. I think we found a kicker. We got a punter. And don't forget the cheese man.
Yeah,
the cheese man went 100% on his snaps this year.
Oh.
And you forget about the little things
You do.
with special teams. But our special teams, for the most of the year, they were special. We can win moving forward.
Yeah.
It takes all three units. It's not just offense, not just defense, it's special teams as well. Welcome to 2023, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you again next time.